And welcome one, welcome all. It is a chilly Tuesday evening in Kenosha, Wisconsin, just about 24 hours before the blizzard of 25 is about to hit the lakefront of Lake Michigan. But things are nice and warm and toasty inside Tarble Arena with the Firebirds welcoming the Falcons in the Battle of the Birds right here in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Hello, everybody, alongside my broadcast colleague, Justin Coorigan. I'm Peter Ferreri. Justin, talk us through this situation right now. You have a Falcons team, only 2 wins on the season, but some of them have been some 5-setters that just haven't necessarily fell their way. Again, a 5-setter against Augustana, a 5-setter against North Central. So they're right on the cusp of those 2 wins being much more than that. So it's not a team that the number 5 ranked Firebirds can take lightly.
Absolutely, and the record only means something until the first serve, and then it's 0-0 the rest of the way. And this is a team that, as you mentioned, has battled hard all year. Things just haven't quite gone their way. Whereas the Firebirds, they've had a couple battles that have gone their way. So this is a game that can easily be a trap game too for the Firebirds, coming off a big road win against Dominican. But they need to be able to take care of business at home, which they have traditionally done. But every contest is a new way for 2 teams to meet.
Yeah, they are a team sitting right now on 35 aces, but that's in comparison to 101 service errors. And the reason that bears mentioning right now is they are hitting at almost the exact same ace-to-error ratio as the Firebirds. So as we transition to the Firebird side of things, Carthage this year a safer serving team, but it's proven itself so fruitful as they have not lost since that 5-setter against Stevens just a few weeks ago. 2 back-to-back wins against Dominican and Baldwin Wallace. They've been on a nice little streak, beating some top-ranked teams, and again this week moving all the way up to number 5.
Yeah, and service has been the name of the game, and we saw it all weekend long at the Frog Jump Invitational, and it ended up being what cost Carthage in that 5-setter against Stevens. A couple of missed serves early in set number 5 set the tone. Stevens was able to pull away, but for most of that tournament, even in the other non-Carthage games, the team that made the most service errors ended up losing the game.
Looking at the potential heavy hitters for this Concordia squad, leading the offensive charge, Scott Reed. Right behind is Tate Miller, and then joining the party is Lucas Barris. Looking at these players and what they have in store, if you are the front row for Carthage, and again, it's something head coach J.W. Kiefer has said, we're still figuring out how we're going to play at the net. How do you stop it when you know you have such a diversified attack for the Falcons?
I think it's just kind of knowing their systems, doing a good scout to find out what their schemes are, which ways they like to go in certain situations, and just utilizing the block in the ways we've seen. Carthage averaging about 2.2 blocks per set right now, the Falcons 2.4, so we should see a good battle at the net. It's going to come to who can control the net better, who can recover off tools better, and who can get the better swings.
We're going to send it over in just a few minutes for our starting lineups and national anthem, but let's end with this. The Firebirds, again, we talked about the serve receive. We talked about this is not a team you want to overlook. What do the Firebirds have to come away with for a true key to victory this evening against the Falcons?
Again, I think it's taking care of business, not getting in your heads that this is a weaker Falcon squad than what they've seen in recent games. I mean, they're coming off of 4 straight, I believe it's 6 straight ranked opponents to now a team with only 2 and 7. This is an easily trappable game for the Firebirds that they have to be able to lock in mentally and battle through and come away with a win.
We're going to take a timeout, hand it over in just a moment to our public address announcer, Eric Elger. We appreciate you all being with us on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Just a reminder, if you're a fan of Carthage athletics across the spectrum, tomorrow night's home women's lacrosse opener has been canceled. So again, not just postponed, but canceled. Their now season opener will be that next game, which is Saturday at 1 o'clock against DePaul. So again, just a programming or scheduling note at hand, but the men's basketball team, which will be on the road tomorrow against the Cardinals of North Central, that game will take place. That will go on schedule as planned. But again, if there's any updates, Justin, I'm sure that the social media accounts of Carthage will keep everybody afloat of what's in store.
Yeah, their admin are pretty good at keeping people updated, so I think it'll be be well informed.
Yeah. Safety first, folks. Safety first. Stay with us now. Now to Eric Elger, the PA announcer. Looking out the starting lineups, number 2, the outside hitter, the automatic Owen Hendricks, Zach Nolan, alongside Ryan Morey, Ben Heiss, Hudson Schweitzer, Cholowinski, the big man in the middle, and Owen Otto, your outside hitter. Otto, one of the top players in the nation right now, Justin.
Yeah, and the reigning CCIW Student Athlete of the Week for men's volleyball had an amazing week in their win against Dominican, and he's been off to a phenomenal start so far for the Firebirds.
And not to continue to talk about the other athletic programs here at Carthage, but what a time to be a fan of the Firebirds. This past weekend, both the men's and women's basketball programs defeating the number 2 ranked teams respectively in the nation. I mean, it just doesn't get much better than that on the Marquee Sports Network. And today, the men's volleyball team, albeit young, is showing their prowess and how they themselves are one of the best teams in the nation. It's a good time to be a fan of the Birds.
Absolutely. And how about the energy in this place on Saturday? From the first tip-off of the women's game to the final buzzer of the men's, this place was bouncing. The energy was unbelievable. It's some of the loudest crowds I think we've had since the Firebirds men's volleyball team won a national championship on this court back in a few years ago.
Well, selfishly, if one of them wins a conference or a national championship, we get rings, right?
Honestly, I don't know yet.
Okay,
we'll find out.
The answer is yes. Yes,
it better
we
be
do.
yes.
We just call the athletic director and say, hey,
I feel like Director Ryan Kane takes care of his people.
Yes.
I feel like we'll be taken care of if we come down to that point.
Yeah, well,
still a long way to go for all of these teams.
It does. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But with that being said, the 7-2 Firebirds taking on the 2-7 Falcons. Firebirds going to be heading left to right in the home blacks with white numbers and letters, black trim. The visiting Falcons in their royal blues with white numbers and letters and a light gray trim. Back to serve for the Falcons, number 7, Hayden Hurley, the setter out of Gilbert, Arizona, about to get things going for the Firebirds, and we are underway on the return. Poke down Cholowinski, and Big Cholo gets the first kill. The last time these two teams met was almost exactly a year ago, Feb the 10th of 2024. That was a 3-1 victory for Carthage, but with that being said, Concordia did take set number 1.
Absolutely, an interesting thing to look at, as you mentioned that. Concordia 2-7 on the year. Those 2 wins are the only 2 games where they have taken set 1. So for these Falcons, the opening set seems to tell the tale of the match.
Nice opening point for Concordia, Wisconsin, and the Falcons. Lucas Barris picked up by libero Nolan. Down and kill on the far side, Owen Hendricks out of West Aurora High School.
It's a great setup there, perfectly timed on the jump. Great swing right into the gap in that back row seam.
2-1 your score. Again, the serve receive has definitely been one of the strengths. The overpass and down. Parker Pearson, the libero out of Keller, Texas. Not much he could do, but just get out of the way.
And Ryan Morey, the setter, getting up on that overpass and putting it right through the floor.
Serving yet again is Hendricks. Looks back row, Pearson can find it. The back set, tip over, out of play, no touch by Cholowinski. And that's one thing different about this Firebirds team than in years past with some of the big men they've had in the middle. It's really the Cholowinski's show, but the fact that he gets that assist from a 6'7" setter of Ryan Morey really diversifies not only the offense but the defense for Carthage.
Yeah, having a setter that tall that can play the front row, that is a huge advantage to any volleyball team because you're not lacking in the block department. You can have a setter play all the way around. You don't have to keep rotating out, switching setters.
Getting a nice little spin as he prepares as the middle hitting Barris out of Germantown, Wisconsin. Otto finds it left side. That's going to go just out of play. Good communication by the Falcons. They're back within 1.
These have to be some of the biggest numbers I've seen on any uniform in any sport. It is so nice to be able to read.
Yeah, you know what? I thought to myself with my horrid vision how easy it is to identify these players. Left hand down, out of play. You and I have called somewhere, it's a dark color on a dark color or light color on a light color, and I said that just doesn't do anybody any justice. We don't have the budget for spotters for every sport. So help us help you. Now you got me thinking, Justin, was that during football season that it was a team that had like light gray numbers on white jerseys? It was something.
Could be something like that. We had a couple soccer ones that were bad. I know you don't call our soccer games typically, but we had a couple uniforms on night games that was like, that's really hard to read.
Set from the Bick, and a net violation called. So Carthage gets the point. We have an outstanding officiating crew this evening. You've been around the block as long as I have, and you get to know some of the best. Your R1, Darren Reese, Felix Madera, your R2, and Dave Galarza and Darren McRoy are your lines. Near side, tip back into play. Back set left hand over the top. Back set by Maury and in by the Iceman, Ben Heiss. Lead back up to 3.
Heiss has silently been a strong weapon for the Firebirds from that right side all season long. We don't typically seem to call his name as much as an Otto or a Hendricks, but when he gets his opportunities, he makes the most of them.
Up serve by Maury. The quick over the middle and out of play it goes. Not much that Nolan can do. He had to be able to beat on the assist in case the block went straight down. Didn't necessarily expect that tool to go to that far sideline.
Yeah, and that comes down to the block was just a tad late coming up. It got off the top of their hands and sent it off away where Nolan really didn't have a play on the ball.
Calsey with the service error right into the net. So I'll be intrigued to see. We'll call it out during one of the timeouts, but we do have a relative of a Firebird athlete, as that is an ace. That stays in. Ace is the place for Owen Otto, as his teammates say, you're on fire. And Otto returns right into the net, but player for the Falcons, none other than Logan Kebasek, relative of a very own Kebasek for the Firebirds.
Absolutely. Tatum Kebasek of the women's volleyball team, who I believe, if I'm seeing correctly, is working this game as a ball roller right now.
Bringing it back in, and that's going to be, a point. Okay. Back and forth it goes. Violation called. I was waiting, so the R1, so the R2 said Carthage, the R1 said Carthage, then switched hands, pointed to himself and said, no, that's the Falcons.
And the R2 and Falcons head coach Curtis Madsen both had the call right from the get-go on that.
Set far side, and Hendricks able to drop that. Just a little bit of a teardrop right over the net, lead back to 3. And here's a situation where the Falcons, they're within striking distance, so there's no need for a timeout. A very quick-paced opening set of action on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. We appreciate you joining us. But we'll have to see if another point or two, and again, point being, it's not been a big enough of a lead for the Falcons to need any change of pace or to need a timeout of their own. They're just playing along.
Yeah, and for the most part, it's been back and forth trading points so far in this one, so really no need to panic just yet.
Pass to Cholo. He's able to deliver the Cholo bomb. Just nice redirection. Neither team having to use much, strength thus far. A little bit more of the finesse. The gaps are where they need to be. Not a blow-for-blow battle thus far, but again, the Falcons just within striking distance. Let's see if it reaches 4, if that changes the story at all. Near side, Nolan goes off the forearm. And 2 Firebirds go swimming off towards Sheridan.
Zach Nolan couldn't believe how that one came off his arms. He seemed to get in the right position. The ball just came off it in a weird spot and shanked it back the other way.
Tate Miller now, out of Anthem, Arizona, Sandra Day O'Connor School. Cholo pulls it to the left side. That stays in yet again. And right now the Falcons don't really have an answer for Cholowinski. Head coach Curtis Madsen, his 8th season at the helm. Alongside is Ryan Hefts and Frank Dorr. Hendricks goes back row, picked up by Pearson. Set to the near side is Rauter doing most of the serving this evening for the Falcons. Uppercut by Otto. Back set, double block, tooled out of play. Nice awareness by Reed Scott out of Chandler High School. Scott, 76 kills, the leader for the Falcons coming into today. Serving now is Barris. Nolan, outstanding pass from the back row. Left side, way out of play. And that's the prowess that Nolan has. So you know he's one of the best in the conference. When he's able to get a good handle on it, you know it's going to be a crisp pass.
Absolutely, and that's been something that's been really good for Carthage all year so far. And Coach Kiekefer has mentioned it time and time again in his post-game interviews. The back row has been unbelievably good at getting that first pass right to where the setter needs it to set up the offense.
McDonald over the middle near pin. So just as Jack McDonald checks in, they go right at him, and he just couldn't get underneath it. But that arguably was the hardest hit of the evening for either squad.
That's always a strategy you like to see in these games, and not just in volleyball, but in other sports too. If someone checks in, they're not quite mentally locked in just yet. Go at them right away, see what happens, see if you can catch them sleeping a bit or not quite locked into the game.
From the Bic, Hendricks delivers the big one. Came into today 92 kills on the season. That is number 2 behind only his brother Owen. Owen Otto, I say brother. I mean, they're not brothers, but you get the point. You have the same first name. I wonder how practices go. Do they just go last names? I'm assuming they go last names, but.
I feel like a lot of these guys have nicknames too, based on what you see on their social media.
And Falcons stay within 2. Again, they haven't needed a timeout. It was just that little bit of an early lead Carthage took, and it's continually a 2 to 3 point lead. Falcons have been able to close the gap on it as Wagner back to serve out of Cedarburg High School. Nice backspin on the pass, and once again, lead extended to 3. Stop me if you heard. But Carthage up by 3.
Schweitzer showing off a little Cholowinski there with that kind of half swing, sliding it to the side.
Otto keeps it in play. Oh, they're saying out, excuse me. My eyes went to the line, thought that the R1 was going to go with it. R2 clearly saw it was out far sideline. And serving now, number 24, Chase Ammons, the 6'6 junior out of Elm Grove, Wisconsin. And he gives the point right back. Anytime they have that chance for cutting the lead to 1, just not happening, Justin.
Yeah, again, it's just been trading points most of the way, and Carthage more than happy to go point for point the rest of the way. I'm sure Coach Kiekefer would like to pull away a bit more and put this one away sooner, but going point for point the rest of the way will not hurt the Firebirds.
So Schweitzer went back to the service line, kind of gave an eye roll when he saw teammate Devin O'Callahan coming in. Cholowinski with the roof. For all of your roofing needs, go to Cholowinski and Associates, and here is the first 4-point lead of the evening. And at first, it looked like Coach Madsen was going to call a timeout, then he actually shook it off. From the Bic, back row, off the right forearm. O'Callahan out of Maple Grove High School couldn't get to it. And the Falcons back to within 3. So good job by Coach Madsen calling it off.
Absolutely, and maybe he sensed something, he saw something with the way they were lining up, save the timeout, give him one more shot. It's a risky move, but it paid off there for the Falcons.
Firebirds near side in the diversified attack right now for Carthage. is really showing its prowess. 4 kills for Hendricks, 4 kills by Cholowinski, and 2 in the middle by Heiss. I mean, it's just, you don't know where it's coming right now.
Absolutely, and that's something that's super lethal with this team. It's so hard to defend.
Falcons gets the point right back. Again, not a need. I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but every time you feel Coach Matson may be calling the timeout, he has a good grasp on where his team is in the rotation, and they get that point right back. Let's see if they can bridge the gap and string 2 points together. That's been the challenge thus far in set number 1. It's not going to happen there, as Owen Hendricks is really dominating set number 1. He is 5 for 5 right now in his kill attempts.
Absolutely, he's been on fire so far. Also 4 for 4 Cholowinski, so they are both just firing on all cylinders to start this match.
The set over the middle, bit of a side spin, and there is the biggest lead of the evening, and it is the point 5, or I should say point number 5 is the point of the match in which Coach Matson decides to utilize that timeout. So the Firebirds 5 away from set number 1, Falcons trailing 5. If you're Concordia, Wisconsin right now, I don't want to say there's anything per se you've done wrong. It's just a little hit here, a little hit here. Neither team playing perfectly, but right now it's not been momentum on either side. Just Carthage has not relinquished that lead, and Concordia, Wisconsin just trying to string a few together.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's just not, again, you said it, no momentum on either side. It's just been a few, especially in these last few plays, a couple of things just not going Concordia's way. That last swing just kind of coming off the thumb, weird, putting a spin on the ball that tailed out of bounds. He gets that with another centimeter of his hand that is staying in, that is a kill. It's just not going the Falcons' way right now, and the Firebirds are taking advantage of it, as the number 5 team in the country should, or you would expect them to at least.
Falcons hitting .533 in set number 1. Now, if you told me, all right, Carthage's opponent is hitting .533, I'd be like, oh my goodness, how many points is Carthage down? Carthage is hitting .737. So that is how a .533 is still not good enough in any given set. 15 out of 19 is that kill to attack ratio. Unbelievable set 1 for Carthage.
And a lot of it's been finding that right spot. Cholowinski's done it several times, finding that seam where it's open. They're doing a really good job of using the offense efficiently.
Cholowinski keeps that one in. Again, the outstanding roof right over the middle. Birds need 4. I should say Firebirds need 4. Lot of bird opponents this year.
Very much so. It's a Midwest thing, I guess.
Uppercut and trying to do a baseball slide to the near sideline was Maury not able to do so. Baseball season coming up soon. Justin, you want to plug that while we have a second?
Yeah, getting ready for the final season for the Firebirds under head coach Augie Schmidt. Hit his 1,000th career win last year. Got a lot of excitement. Bryce Schaum, the star pitcher, coming back. So it's going to be a fun time out at Augie Schmidt Field, which, for those unaware, is actually named after Augie's dad, Augie Schmidt III. So I didn't know that until last year even, and I was a student here.
I feel if you have a name Augie, it's just destiny to have the 4th, the 5th, and so on and so forth. So Firebirds need 3 to take set 1. Hits off the tape. McDonald serve playable for the Falcons. Near pin, back row, McDonald side swipe. Maury, left side, pushing through. Once again is Owen Otto out of Hartford, Wisconsin. Firebirds within 2. Second timeout needed by Coach Matson. So it was 20-15 and a quick 3-1 run has the Falcons reeling and needing a second timeout. Now, there was some chatter before. You and I spoke about it early in set number 1, Justin, that if the Falcons were to really try to establish themselves in this contest against a very good Firebirds team, they would need to do so in set number 1. And many times they're within striking distance. But again, bit by bit, point by point, Carthage starting to separate themselves. Let's stick to something as well as Carthage up to a .762 hit percentage. tell me, being a player yourself, how are they able to spread apart their offense so much, whether it's the quick one over the middle of Cholowinski, whether it's the outside of the Owen brothers of far and near, Hendricks and Otto. If you're Concordia, maybe looking a bit ahead to set number 2, what do you do to try to slow it down? Do you go all in on one player, try to take half the court away at least?
Yeah, I think there are different ways you can go about it. Unfortunately for them right now, there's not one attacker for the Firebirds that's really standing out just yet. Obviously, you've got a couple with Hendricks and Cholowinski getting multiple kills, Heiss getting 3, Otto getting 3. But really, where you have to turn your focus now is in serve receive right off the bat. You want to find a way to get Carthage out of position defensively on the return, so that way they cannot set up their offense efficiently to get good swings. They're just not quite doing that in these last 10 points or so.
McDonald, one of your rotational liberos, in the contest right now to serve. They go right at him again. To the far pin. High set, near pin, double block, playable once again for the Falcons. Morey over the middle, massive delivery. Hudson Schweitzer, the pride of Middleton. One of the trifectas of the Middletons of Heiss, Emmerich, and Schweitzer, and set 1 point is now in the hands of McDonald at the service line. Good job by the Falcons to stave off losing in set 1. Ammons, still an uphill climb. They need 7. But again, you want to try to get maybe a few points. That's been one of your struggles in set number 1, is stringing a few together. As coming in to serve now is Logan Kebasek. So again, the sibling of Tatum Kebasek. Float serve. Pulling it through, Kebasek keeps it alive with the thumb roll over the top. Kebasek with the set near pin, down. Nolan can't get to it in time. 2 in a row.
This is what the Falcons needed, spreading out that defense a little bit more. The Firebirds were getting a little too tight, guarding those seams because the Falcons weren't spreading out their offense enough. They're starting to do it here late. So that one for Kebasek goes in the net to end set number 1.
Kebasek serves it into the net. Set 1 going the way of the Firebirds, 25-18. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, can Carthage go up 2-0 against the Falcons? We'll find out on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Welcome back to the Firebird Broadcasting Network. I'm Peter Ferreri alongside Justin Coorigan. Excited to be with you this Tuesday evening. So how far is Concordia, Wisconsin from here?
I want to say it's about 40-ish minutes.
Ooh, man, tough. Good thing it's not tomorrow, and I think any sort of driving. I was kind of disappointed at first because I'm like, well, I want to see some college lacrosse, but again, safety first. A lot of things being canceled.
Absolutely. Got to wait for that Maddie Burney era to start for Carthage women's lacrosse.
Had an opportunity to speak with her today at length. Really excited. You know, you have one of the best players in Carthage history as a player. A year removed, is now at the helm, and her associate head coach, Rachel Harris, a fan favorite over the past few years. And they also told me a recent additional coaching hire, if you want to chime in on that as well. It's a pretty big land in their own right.
Yeah, huge help in the goalie department. Alessandra Almendarez been around helping out this year. Great goalkeeper for the Firebirds. The all-time leading games played, saves, pretty much everything.
Well, one thing Coach Burney said today was, if you have an opportunity to get the best in the history of the school, why not do it? You know, and she just kind of, we had a really existential part of the conversation as well, as you never know sometimes where life brings you. Coach Burney, again, one of the best players in Carthage history, a nursing major, and, instead of being a nurse currently, she's the head coach of her alma mater less than 2 years after graduation, so it kind of just shows you sometimes where life can take you. But I know the Firebirds faithful are glad that she's going to be leading the helm preseason, ranked number 2 in conference play. So, and she even said, Pete, we feel kind of disrespected that not only were we number 2, but we only got one first place vote, and that's out of a team with our whole teams returning. So it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I think for that, it came down to 3 things with that. The fact that Carroll beat Carthage last year in their only match only game against each other. Chicago's out, so they're no longer the clear and heavy favorite number 1. And then there are 2 very big question marks for the Firebirds right now. And what's their goalkeeping position look like, with Almendarez now gone for the first time in years? And what is this team going to look like under Coach Burney? Yeah. They were great under Coach Conjol and for the few years before that. But what is this new team going to look like? How are they going to be different? How are they going to attack? How are they going to defend? What is going to be the new face of Carthage women's lacrosse?
Well, one thing she said, and again, we'll switch back to volleyball momentarily, but she said what she appreciated, Kill, for the Falcons, is that Coach Conjol formulated her recruiting and her class to fill in the pieces, she said, for people like me. So she said when I was on my way out, Coach Becca, as she called her, recruited people to fill in my spot, to fill in Rachel Harris's spot, to fill in Alessandra's spot. So she is taking over a team that in essence is a very similar team makeup-wise than who she actually played for. So she said it just works out. It's not as if Coach Becca came in and said, I'm completely reformulating this team. She said that would have been much more challenging on the recruiting side. But the fact that it's, okay, this player is replacing me, and that player is replacing my 2 assistants, she said it's a plug and play.
Absolutely. And Coach Conjol was very excited about this recruiting class before she went on to take the head coaching spot at Mercer. We were super happy for her when she got that opportunity. But on top of having a good recruiting class that fills the gaps that this team needs, to have a coaching staff of 3 former players who all played together that know the system, they're all in the same wavelength on how to win games. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for a young but proven as players coaching staff.
So the Firebirds type at 5 apiece. Much different start for the Falcons this time around. Back and forth battle yet again, yes, but this time it's not that early deficit that the Falcons just couldn't claw their way back and getting 2 or 3 in a row to tie things up. Far side over the double. Playable for Carthage. Left hand, almost out of play. Good job picking up the pieces. Pearson. The rollover. Nolan underneath it. Morey sets over the middle underneath it. Cleanly won again is Scott. Back row side swipe. high up near pin, triple block. Can't get there is Pearson. And that's one of the challenges when you have a triple block. If it doesn't deflect off of that in the clean way, you're kind of left with only 3 players to cover the rest of the court. And that's just the situation that the Falcons were in, but nice long rally for the Firebirds.
Yeah, and that offensive attack there on that end of the play really set up well by Owen Hendricks, coming on the run, over the shoulder pass back to the setter in a perfect spot.
Brought back in, down. Power bomb by Carthage. 7-5 your score. Carthage now regaining that lead.
Hudson Schweitzer, the 6'4" freshman out of Middleton, just put that one through the floor.
Left side, off the tip. Taking his time back at the service line is Chase Ammons out of Brookfield East High School. High back set by Morey. Oh, that just spelled disaster. What a powerful hit. The fireball for Owen Otto.
Yeah, that one, just everything that could have gone wrong there for the Falcons went wrong. Need to reset here, down 2.
Very quickly, Falcons find themselves in that same situation, but nice job poking it through. Lucas Barris out of Germantown just utilized the vision, saw the gap to the right, played it softly, you could say, off that far side arm of the defender, back to within 1. Smart play by the Falcons. Up serve by Hurley. Back set, way out of play, and Carthage gets the 45-foot ricochet kill. So Hudson Schweitzer now, the freshman, one of the key freshman contributors for Carthage in this very young squad. Flicking it back in, so that's going to be a violation called against the Falcons. Now the biggest lead for Carthage in set number 2, 10-7.
It's going to be interesting to see here. The Firebirds like to try and pull away here. What's that going to do for Concordia if the Firebirds get 1 or 2 more? Will a timeout be burned early?
From the Bick, just couldn't get a touch on it, was Olin Kalski. You kind of saw he came from the Bick, and he's having a conversation with Coach Madsen right now. He rotated the body but brought his thumb down just at the last second to maybe try to get a bit much. And you saw Coach Madsen kind of flicking his hand in the motion like, hey, just get the contact first. Don't worry so much about the rotation. Keep it in play. From the far side, nice block. Woo! Ben Heiss with that chiller block. 12-7. Powerful lead by Carthage midway through set number 1.
Absolutely. And again, 2 points led to a timeout there. Pulling away, biggest lead of the set. Carthage now needs to take this opportunity to pull away and create a commanding win.
Again, looking at the last time these two teams met. Set 1 went the way of Concordia, Wisconsin, then 2, 3, and 4 were the way of the Firebirds. Carthage has not lost against Concordia, Wisconsin in all of their matchups. And for that being said, the only set that Carthage has ever lost was that first set last year on the road in the home court of Concordia.
Yeah, and that was a set that I remember we were watching the live stats of it from campus. We had some other stuff going on. We saw that set go, and we're like, what just happened there? Concordia really, they came out, they had a really good set of volleyball, and they made Carthage pay for not having their best volleyball. Coach Kiekefer was not a happy camper about it, but they came away with the win. And they seem to be on their way so far in this one with a commanding 12-7 lead in set number 2. We talked about the basketball team's having a great day on Saturday. The track and field teams also both won the Tad Metzger Invitational with a school record from Abby Calhoun, who is in attendance here tonight in the triple jump.
And for what that's worth, this school is known for its track and field. I mean, that is a huge accomplishment anytime you're even in the same atmosphere, and the fact that she broke that record, I mean, tip your hat.
Absolutely, and 12.04 meters, ranked 6th in Division III right now. So on her way to potentially a national qualifying bid in the triple jump.
Schweitzer able to recover. Maury back set. Playable for Heiss. Side swipe just over the net. Cholowinski bumped it. They go back to him. Out of play, but playable. Nice job bringing it back in was Tate Miller, and 4 hits called against the Falcons. So just as we were singing the praises of the start the Falcons have had, I should say, it has been all Carthage ever since that, 6-point mark.
Yeah, 3-1 start for the Falcons. Now a 13-4 run for the Firebirds.
Another point for Carthage as a uppercut by Hurley out of Castile. Heisel just couldn't find the mark. Might have to ask yourself now, is one more point, which is going to be the breaking point for Coach Madsen, or does he say we're already down by 8? Do we just let it play out? We'll see what happens here after the serve by Schweitzer, and then every time I say it might be a timeout, Falcons find a way to get a point.
Coach Madsen might want you to start saying that more frequently.
Okay, on the serve, just call a timeout now and you'll get an ace. Scott looks back row. Hendricks finds it. High set near pin. Answering the call was Owen Hendricks. I don't want to say Hendricks has had a quiet evening when you have 6 kills, but a fairly quiet evening for Hendricks because it's just been business as usual. Every time they've set him, it's proven itself fruitful. He is now 6 of 8 as he was 4 for 4 early on in the contest. In now number 9, Joey Kolwitz. First appearance today out of Worthington, Ohio. Back set, poke over. They go right for Kolwitz again. Far sideline double block. Checking in was Ruben Emmerich. Nice play by the Falcons to regain serve. Off the top of the tape, slowed it down a bit. Barris was looking for it. That stays in. The Rifleman delivers. 17-9 for Carthage.
Emmer coming in and putting in one of the hardest swings we've seen tonight.
High set far pin. Net violation called. Coach Kiekefer asking, believe it was Ruben Emmerich.
Coaching staff was pointing at Cholowinski afterwards. Not sure if it has anything to do with it or if they're just giving him instruction.
Kabasek in the contest. Not able to get to it in the back row was Tate Miller. Carthage up by 8. No timeout thus far for the Falcons. They used one earlier in the contest. So Jack McDonald in the contest now, one of the serve specialists for the Firebirds. Carthage hitting .581. 28-19, your kill differential. Trying to push it through with the right hand to no avail was Hudson Schweitzer. And this indeed, Justin, is one of those games where if you are Coach Kiekefer, you're trying to get some of your other weapons involved early and often, because once conference play hits, it's anybody's game between yourself, Loris, and North Central. 3 of the top 20 teams in the nation are in the CCIW.
Absolutely, and Loris moved up a few spots this week as well, along with the Firebirds. And the CCIW is no slouch in any contest. We've even seen Illinois Wesleyan get a few wins. They were the back end of the conference. We're seeing Augustana start to take some steps forward. So this conference is arguably one of the best in the country, and it's only getting better.
What's the outlook on the softball team? We've spoken basketball, we've spoken track and field, we've spoken lacrosse. How's softball going to look
It's
this
going to be
year?
another exciting season. We got a lot coming back talent-wise. Claire Rettler led the country in batting average last year. Had I believe it was 19 or 20 game hitting streak with her Ichiro-style drag bunting that has proven successful so many times and led to so many runs for the Firebirds. Also, leading pitcher from last year, Maddie Conway, returning for a final season. So a lot of talent coming back for this Firebirds team. Be able to see if Coach Amy Gilmore can put it together and get some wins for the Firebirds.
It's interesting because as a timeout is called by Coach Matson, Firebirds up by 10, 4 more for set number 2. But just continue on that softball conversation. You know, some things go out of fashion and then come right back in. 20 years ago, slap bunting, pull bunting was all the rage. And then it went to, okay, just get contact, don't waste your swings, don't waste your pitches. And now it's, oh wait, what if we do that? We'll get on base more often. So I just, it's fun to see when what's old is new and what's new is old. And so back to the action at hand, 21-11 your score on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Carthage trailed early on in this contest, but quickly found their way back. They're back in action this Friday against Benedictine here at Tarble, 7 o'clock on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. And then they head north about 35 minutes to MSOE against the Milwaukee School of Engineering. And then conference play starts Saturday, February the 22nd at bitter rival Illinois Wesleyan. And that's 3 o'clock in Bloomington. And their conference play starts to finish out the month of February, Wednesday the 26th against North Central. Again, that one's going to be a huge one. One of the other top-ranked teams in the nation. Second game of conference play.
Absolutely, and like I mentioned before, that first game down in Bloomington against the Titans will not be a pushover either. Titans getting a win against number 19 Dominican last week, right before the Firebirds earned the win against Dominican. Seemingly, from the way things have gone in the past, seemingly that win over Dominican, the Titans were able to end Dominican's chance of an NCAA bid, unless things go very well for the Stars moving forward.
Nice dig, overpass on the dig. Taking advantage is Hudson Schweitzer. Firebirds need 3. Just out of play, past the shoelaces of the line judge. So Chase Ammons now in the contest. Ammons, 3 service aces on the season. Can he find number 4? Not able to cleanly get underneath it, so that's a solid serve because it yielded a misguided pass on the touch. Ammons have another good one. Ammons takes his time more than most at the service line, sends that one out of play. As a sub coming in to serve is going to be Michael Yeb, your outside hitting junior out of SLU High School in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yem was picked by Coach Kiekafer to be the one that he would want to see as a Super Bowl halftime performer.
Oh. Tatum can't get there. I should say Kebasek can't get there. Just all those years of calling Kebasek. Near side rotation and in. Nice play for the Falcons. That's the type of play you hope to see more of in set number 3. Being patient, making the play.
I think it's not just hope to see. I think you have have to see it if you want to stay in this match. Something we just have not seen enough of from the Falcons in this one.
Hayden Hurley. A Tuesday evening. A little bit into February. Double block playable for Nolan. High set near pin. On the back set through the double. Pick up by Emmerich, down! And Hudson Schweitzer delivers the crushing blow. As the fans from Tarble get to their feet, Carthage needs one to take a convincing 2-0 lead. And just like set number one, it won't happen on the first attempt.
And we talked about the variety of offense for the Firebirds in this one. 7 for Hendricks in kills, 6 for Otto. Heiss, Schweitzer, and Cholowinski all at 5 right now, spreading the wealth so efficiently.
And a service ace is how set 2 will end. Firebirds a 10-point victory in set number 2, 25-15. Can the Firebirds find the sweep this Tuesday in Kenosha, or the Falcons force 4? Don't go anywhere. We will return on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Welcome back to the Firebird Broadcasting Network. We appreciate you being with us on this Tuesday evening at Tarble Arena. For Justin Coorigan, I'm Peter Ferreri. The Firebirds lead 2-0, and Cholowinski delivers point number 1 on their way to a sweep in 3.
Ice with the ace, 2-0.
Ace is the place. Ben Heiss, only his second, by our records, that is his first ace of the season. Ben Heiss. The back set, back row, no touch. Oh, okay, the R2 is claiming touch. And this is one of those scenarios, Justin, where you really have to say to yourself, if you're Coach Kiefer and you're the Firebirds, you don't want to get ahead of yourself. You don't want to overlook this set. You want to finish. You want to finish strong. So that way you just keep that momentum going. No opponent should be overlooked.
Absolutely. There's something to be said about you've got a team that you are on paper better than and probably on the court better than. You've got them on the ropes 2-0. Don't give them any sense of hope, any sense of momentum. Come on out, take this set, go home in 3.
On the back set, falling at the feet of Hendricks. I have to ask the question just in case there's any students watching or listening. Are classes canceled or delayed tomorrow afternoon or evening?
Last I have heard, not yet as of now. The last email I got from the office of the provost was saying we'll monitor it closely.
Copy that. Cholowinski, where can't he break the floorboards? Near, far, left or right. Birds up by 2.
Yeah, tomorrow's women's lacrosse game canceled early just for travel concerns for Bethel having to come up from Indiana and go back from Indiana where we're supposed to get snow up here. They're supposed to get freezing rain down there.
Correct.
Not worth the trip for them.
Oh, what a way to keep the rally going for the Falcons. And Owen Otto says, enough of that fun. I mean, credit the Falcons for just diving all over the court to keep it alive. Just the passing was just that skosh better for Carthage. Out of play, the serve goes.
That floater just hung up just a little too much for Hendricks. Couldn't quite find that back line.
Want to remind everybody, Coach Kiefer will join us for the post-game show immediately following the broadcast this evening. So we'll take a timeout after the conclusion of the game. We'll be joined back up here in the booth by Coach Kiefer. All past games can also be found on the Firebird YouTube channel. That stays in. You know, you mentioned the growth of college sports, CCIW, especially the Division III level. You got to really respect the showing that Carthage had on Saturday with thousands of eyes on them watching from home and, you know, across the area. That is just a huge boost to their ability to say, you know, hey, look at how good we are.
Absolutely, and to come away with big wins on that setting in front of a packed house. I mean, this place, as we mentioned before, was bouncing when big plays were happening. When Griffin Dawn stole the ball to seal the game with the dunk, this place, the roof almost fell off. It was so loud in here.
And Maury, that one rolls off the wrist.
Not to mention when this place got free cheese curds off the missed free throws.
I will admit I took advantage with my family on the drive home. Sat about 15 feet away from the Johnson brothers. That one out of play. A lot of Carthage fans there in
Johnson
attendance.
brothers definitely earned their cheese curds that night.
Yes, they did. Otto looks back row. Poked up in the air. Playable. Near pin, double block, redirect. Right back to Heiss. Keeping alive is Hurley, one of the longer rallies of the evening. Reverse attempt by Heiss. Near pin, down, uppercut, side bump to keep it alive. Where will Mori set to the bicket in? Setting fire to the rain is Carthage, and Oenato hitting kill number 10.
And that was an example of how versatile this offense is. You try one way, it gets sent back. You try another way, it doesn't work. Go to the bick, earn the kill.
Solid pass to the back row. Keeping it alive is Reed Scott. Maury left side for Hendricks, and what an evening for Owen Hendricks. Whether it's power, whether it's finesse, absolutely laser focused vision. Besides Cholowinski being 7 for 7, Hendricks now 8 for 10. Falcons still hitting at a very respectable 228. Carthage 5:30. Timeout called by head coach Matson. Carthage up 11-4, and everything's coming up red in set number 3.
Absolutely, they're taking full advantage now. Momentum is completely in the way of the Firebirds. Everything is clicking offensively. This is what they needed to do in set 3, not give the Falcons any hope moving into the end of the set.
11-4 your score. Looking at some of the numbers. Again, 530 to 228, 40 to 21 the kill differential. 8 to 6 errors favoring Carthage as well. But a big differential, not only the kill percentage, 5-0 is that ace differential. And again, even if you just take those 5 and add them to set 1, you take the 5 and add them to set 2, it's still a situation where Carthage has a strong lead. Set 1 really was Concordia's best chance thus far.
Yeah,
what do the just to say, Justin, what do the Falcons have to do to just chip away at things in this set?
I think the focus just has to be the next point. Whether you win the point before, you lose the point before, take this a point at a time, work it back a point at a time. We've seen the Firebirds struggle in set 1 from time to time before. Concordia needs to get back to that right now.
Back pass, oh, nice set. That could be the set of the evening for Hayden Hurley, the 6-foot freshman. Had all of Carthage leaning frontward. He flicked it back, wide open spaces. Back set, left hand out of play, no touch. As looking for the point but couldn't find it was Ben Heiss.
Heiss got off to a quick start in this one, but slow down a bit here, still just 5 kills.
One, two, three, bang. Carthage delivers.
It's not very often you see a Jack McDonald kill from the front row. What a swing there.
Well, now here in set 3 is we're starting to see, players that are those rotational players, maybe getting some more solid minutes. Hudson Schweitzer in. Subbing out is Noland for the aforementioned Schweitzer. Looks like McDonald's going to stay in a little bit longer. (12-7) your score. Hop serve. Off the left side, playable. Here is indeed the women's lacrosse program making their way. Hannah Kim just walking by, one of the favorites of head coach Maddie Burney. Said she's the top player, or one of the top players that she's seen growth with year after year. So they'll have to wait till Saturday. But we digress. Back row, flick up, pass to the near side, left hand over. And Kebasek not able to track that one down, out of play. 13-8 your score.
Hannah Kim seemed to always just be taking a beating from defenders for no reason last year. She seemed to just every game be hitting the turf from some shot that would get a free play for the Firebirds.
I mean, and this wasn't just, not that anybody necessarily speculated to me, but even if you go back and watch it, these weren't flops. These were just, she's not the tallest player, and so those cross checks were right across the clavicles, and she just go down in a bundle, pop back up, and would just, and that's one of the things Coach Burney said is the transition she's made from just a super athlete on the defensive side to now setting up the offense. She said it's just a weapon that's going to be deployed this year. Set left side, McDonald with the directional set. Did he get the tip? He did not, no touch. And just like that, Falcons back within 5. So nice little run. Can something happen as we speak? That one out of play. Carthage gets the point back on the service error.
Justin Ishii checking in for the Firebirds. Haven't called his name a whole lot this year. Again, another rotational piece entering the game.
Back row McDonald setting near side. Over the triple. That says it stays in. Coach Madsen having a conversation with the R2 about in versus out. I don't think it's going to necessarily go anywhere. 16-9 your score. McDonald continues at the service line. Kebasek near pin. Oh, hardest hit for the Falcons this evening. Tate Miller. Like Terry Tate, the offense linebacker. That may be before your time. Do you remember those commercials? Okay. If you want to get a good chuckle, go to the YouTube tonight and look up Terry Tate, office linebacker. It was a huge Reebok campaign. Oh my goodness, it was awesome.
I think you're almost at the point where you're dating yourself just mentioning Reebok.
Oh man, come on. People still wear Reebok, don't they? Don't they?
I'm going to bite my tongue on that one.
Okay. I mean, jersey sponsors, there's got to be some colleges sponsored by.
I'd assume there are still some, but I feel like Nike, Under Armour is
kind of of course.
Taking the way, Adidas.
BSK Sports.
Exactly.
So the R2 now having a conversation with Coach Kiekefer. Not quite sure what it's about.
I didn't see what was going on that could have led to that. Coach Kiekefer, he's been pretty mellow so far tonight. We haven't seen him get excited about much, good or bad. He's kind of kept his hands in his pockets, kind of just staying a real chill guy.
Well, for all intents and purposes, we're 8 points away from the post-game show. We can ask Coach Kiekefer about his calm demeanor in this Tuesday evening's match. The R2, did a quick look at the monitor. So we'll have to figure out what that conversation's about.
Almost wondering if it was a rotational thing. Coach Kiefer maybe thinking the Falcons were out of rotation on the previous play. While we wait on this, you mentioned, or we talked about Carthage softball earlier. Claire Rettler had to have had one of the best seasons in program history, and if not one of the best seasons as a Carthage athlete last year out of all sports. Again, we mentioned led the country batting average, 572, was second team All-American, 79 hits, only 3 of which were for extra bases. That's how successful the bunt was for her. 45 runs scored out of the leadoff spot.
It's pretty good.
On top of I believe also school record 42 stolen bases.
Yeah, that's good too. 42.
42. Just as soon as she got on base, she was on third base after only hitting singles. So it'll be interesting to see what Rettler comes in with in this season, especially with most of the batting order top 5 coming back as well to help Poacher across the plate.
So we're waiting to hear from the sideline. We do have a message in to the crew about what could be the situation. 17-10 your score. I do believe it's either subs or rotation that will be in question.
Yeah, the R2's holding the lineup card right now. Very excited about something as Ryan Kelly back to serve. Kelly, the 5'11" sophomore out of Franklin, Wisconsin.
More conversing with the bench. Coach Kiefer once again. It's a talk here, a talk there, a talk here, a talk there. And here we are under play. Kebasek keeps it in, but tipped over. Good presence at the net. Hudson Schweitzer just felt that tip was going to be a bit late by Kebasek. Timed it perfectly, and Carthage up by 8.
Head coach Kersnason not happy with the call, talking over, but at the end of the day conceding.
Down and in. Another one in the right direction for the Falcons, but again, stringing it together has been but the challenge. Waiting for the official sub. It looks like potentially Josiah Flager-Heron is going to sub in. And indeed, that's the case. So Flager-Heron has checked into the game, the 6'5" middle blocker out of Belleville, Illinois. They were going right for him, and that's going to be a service error.
Just the 3rd appearance on the season for Flager-Heron. Saw him against Lakeland and St. Norbert on that opening night doubleheader, but have not seen him since. 2 kills so far in the season on 3 attempts.
Set to the 10-foot line. Sailing in and delivering Jack McDonald. And when your rotational libero / serve specialist can deliver blows like that, all you can say to your opponent is good luck.
Jack McDonald on his career, just 18 kills so far. 17 kills coming into the night. 1 this season. I believe he's now at 3 kills on the night. Yes, 3 kills on 5 attempts.
Crunching some of the numbers as well, again on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. 507 to 246 is your difference in the hitting percentage favoring the Firebirds. Individual leaders, Owen Otto still sits as the leader with 10, trailed by Hendricks with 8, Cholowinski with 7. He is 7 for 8, 6 for Heiss, and 5 for Schweitzer. On the flip side for the Falcons, 8 for Scott leading the charge, 6 for Kalski, and 5 for Emmons. I really feel set 2 changed the pace of the game, the tone. Set 1, Falcons could have come back at any time, just weren't able to finish the job. So we do have official word from the bench what that stoppage was for. Justin, if you want to expound.
Yeah, it appears as that on the official scorecard, the number was wrong for Ryan Kelly when he checked in to serve. And so they needed to take the moment to get that right on the back end. So tends to happen from time
Yep.
to time. A lot of players changing numbers. Kelly, I believe, changed numbers from last season. We haven't seen him a lot this year. Easy mistake, easily fixable. Scorer's table got it figured out.
How about
Play on.
Emmerich with the ace? His second ace on the season.
And unfortunately, his 5th service error on the night. So not the best night at the service line for him.
From the Bick, Emmerich tries to deliver out of play, but Scott able to trace it down. And double hit called against the Falcons. Looks like back to serve is going to be the aforementioned number 8, Justin Ishii.
No service, aces or errors. I believe this is the first time we've seen him serve all year.
Ishii out of Germantown. Self-preservation by Nolan, but a net violation called.
I believe they called that on Flager Heron, if I saw the number right.
Set to the left side. Playable for the Falcons. Nice job by Ishii running that one down. I mean, he truly fouled that to the moment it dropped a 1.5 feet out of play. Good awareness. So serving, one of the fan favorites, as mentioned, Isaiah Flager Heron. Soft touch on the serve. Ishii. Flager Heron back sets. McDonald. Back into play for the Falcons, and that's going to fall before it crosses the net. And we are at match point, 24-13.
It's always fun to see. This crowd goes wild every time Flager Heron touches the volleyball.
Side bump on the free ball to keep it alive. Ishii over the middle. Back set for the Falcons. Ishii side swipes. Emmerich breaks it through with a tool. Busts out the shovel to finish up the contest. 25-13, one of the most convincing victories of the season for the Carthage College Firebirds. Justin, initial thoughts before we take our final timeout before the coaches call right here on the Firebird Broadcasting Network.
First thing off to go off, what a save there to end that final play. Kolwitz playing it off the beam, straight down, setting up the kill. And I think that just shows the statement of taking care of business, and that was the story of tonight. The Firebirds came in a little slow in set number 1, but took care of business the rest of the way, limiting the Falcons to just 28 points through 2 sets.
We'll take a timeout, 25-18, 25-15, 25-13 your score. The sweep in the Battle of the Birds, Carthage over Concordia, Wisconsin. When we come back, head coach J.W. Kiefer will join us for the post-game show right here on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. the man with the fresh haircut, the fresh kicks, and excited to be with us now on the post-game show. Head coach J.W. Kiefer joining yours truly, Peter Ferreri and Justin Coorigan. Coach, Justin made a comment earlier that it was one of your most serene sideline games that we've seen in years. Is this just, you turned over a new leaf, or you're just confident in what you saw tonight?
You look like the real Chill Doom meme tonight.
Trying to keep it under control. I guess you didn't see me crumple up a piece of paper and throw it into the stands in set 2, because I did do that. So
I thought that was one of those little molten volleyballs they throw out at CCIW tournaments.
No. I did get a little upset with our level of play, maybe you should call it, in set 2. So, it's easy to be the chill dude out there. When you're siding out as well as we are, and we're playing offense as well as we are.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to see from our volleyball team, is our ability to play offense at a really high level. And I'm happy that we're able to get some guys in that deserve it from all their work in the practice gym. That was great today. But from that starting group, when they played a little 680 set offensively in set 1 is pretty elite. Just really proud of the way we sat it out above. Looks like 85% here the entire day. So. That's elite offense, and if you can play elite offense, it's going to be pretty easy to win matches. I thought our defense was mediocre today, unfortunately. I think the first time I could say that all year, to be honest with you. Just in set 1, we weren't digging the balls we normally do. Weren't putting as much service pressure on the team that we normally do, so a little bit disappointed there. We still probably haven't matched defensive effort and defensive energy and execution with offensive effort, energy, and execution. And so we keep trying to find it. We keep on that slow grind forward. So really proud of the way Owen Hendricks played today on the left, and Owen Otto played on the left, I think Zach Nolan was a rockin' serve receive like he always is. Really proud of that. And Ryan Cholowinski is one of the best blockers in the country, and I think he proved that again today, going against those two middles and making some pretty elite blocking moves. Holding Lucas Barris to negative is pretty impressive. That kid's been hitting 500 basically on the season. And so to hold him negative shows how impressive our two middle blockers are at getting in front of middle blocker routes.
Yep.
Now, when 7 of your 8 hitters on the evening hit above 300, and the only one that doesn't is normally your libero, what is having that much offensive firepower and that much way to spread around the offense? What does that do for a team like yours?
Yeah, I think, happy with Ben Heiss getting 6 kills on 13 attempts too. I think we were able to get him the ball a little more often today than we have in the past to spread the offense. 8 balls to Huddy in the middle, 9 balls to Ryan Cholowinski in the middle. Ryan Cholowinski's gone on fire here the last couple of matches with that offense. I think he's been 700 with both the last 2 matches. So we need that out of him. He's got that ability to go impact matches with his size, and for him to finally find the control and the patience at the net. I think one of the things he struggled with early in his career was he just wasn't patient enough as an attacker to let that ball get to him and then pick a spot. And really impressed with his improvement there. And Hudson Schweitzer is continuing to push forward and make his plays one by one and get better. We're excited to get Ethan Sprague back next week and get him healthy. Justin Ishii, you saw him today. He was healthy. So just really happy with our progress and where we're going. And it was awesome to see guys get in. Jack McDonald played libero for the last 2 seasons for us. He's back on the left. A little 280 piece. Pretty sweet. I think he served the ball well. He actually touched the ball really well too. It was great to see that. Ryan Kelly with a great serve from the baseline, and Josiah Flegger-Heron steps in, does some nice stuff, and out of system sets. You don't see middles handling the ball that often in volleyball matches, and he steps in, makes a great serve, and a great assist set to score a point. So really proud of the way this entire team played today.
Now, Owen Otto was named CCIW Student Athlete of the Week yesterday. Comes out tonight, 10 kills on 17 attempts, 471 overall. What has his level of play in volleyball done for this program so far in these last few games?
Boy, I think he's just a special athlete. He's one of one. And the way he does it is so unique. Actually, those couple errors he hit, it was weird for him because he overturned 2 line swings, which, if you've watched a lot of Carthage volleyball, he likes to hit the line very hard, and that tends to be our top highlights is Owen Otto hitting the line. So to see him overturn 2 early with wide open swings was a bit interesting, but he is one of one. Very complete volleyball player. He passes, he digs, he serves, he scores. And he's the new OH1. He's a new security blanket for our setters to go find him and let him put balls away. And it's so interesting the difference of Carthage volleyball from Matt Slavinsky, Carter Schmidt, to Owen Hendricks and Owen Otto.
Yeah.
And the way we play volleyball, it's the same system, but the way we play it is very, very different. And I think it's really cool, to be honest with you, to see the same system get played almost opposite and with different type of attackers with their strengths, and to be as consistent and impressive as it is. Owen Hendricks 8-0-10 today. Struggled early in the season off with offense, and we've really found a little bit in the gym to try to get him more consistent. And he's a pretty unique athlete as well in the left pin there. Pretty awesome.
We were talking about the Owens earlier in the broadcast. How do you diversify then where the setting's going when both Owens are in there? Is it truly the trust of your setters of whether it's Kolwitz or Morey to say, hey, set it to the correct Owen based on that situation? Or how does that kind of work? Because it's really turned into a new facet we've seen these past few games.
Yeah, I think, and that's like, if you've been around our program, you've seen us use the left sides pretty heavily, right? That's what we want to do here at Carthage. We want to kind of run the ball quick to those guys, and whether it's the bick over the top in the middle of the court or whether it's the go ball on the left pin, that ball gets to him quick, and they got to make some good decisions where it's going to go. Hendricks is over the block and can kind of pick it off where he needs to, and Otto is around the block and kind of pick it off where he needs to. So two different ways of doing it. There's a little bit of a system behind it in terms of where the ball goes, when it needs to. We're not going to talk about that publicly, but there's some systems behind it in terms of which hitter gets the ball in which situation. We just need to. I honestly think we need to set the ball overhead more to both Ruben Emmerich and Ben Heiss. Those two guys are pretty elite, and if we can get that left front to step out, and I think Ben had a nice day today. He hit pretty well, and when Ruben went in, one error early, but ends up at 375. Both those guys are pretty unique athletes, and so when we get a couple of kills out of that position to force that left front to step out, and then the bick up the center is wide open up the gut, that's when we're pretty elite. So Ben did a great job today, forcing that left to step out, and then we just kind of ate in the center of the court there.
Finishing up now, Coach, how did you make sure you got the job done today? Because, again, as Justin said prior to the game, people were saying, on paper. You got the job done. They gave you their best effort in the first. You finished up in the second and third. And then how do you take that into the one more non-con game before we really hit the thick of things?
I mean, it's nice to get done in 3. That's always nice, to give yourself more rest and you don't have to take the next set worth of jumps. That's nice. The message we've had this year has been something to prove. We have something to prove with this roster. We're lucky enough as a program to have a great alumni group, great alumni base that has won national championships, has gotten second in the country multiple times, has gone to multiple Final Fours. But this group, the way it's constructed, hasn't won anything yet. And I desperately want for this group to prove something, to show they're one of the most elite groups in the country, to show how talented they are. I want it for this group, and they have something to go prove. This group, them themselves, the way it's constructed, is a fully new group than that 2022 group, and I want it for them. I want to win for them. I want them to feel the same things we felt in 2021 and 22. They're such special athletes and young men. They play the right way. They care about the culture the right way. They care about each other the right way. And so, I desperately want this for them to get the same feelings that the rest of this program has had over their careers. So we work hard every day. We lock in. And I think it's about each other after every match. I'm late to get up here because one of the things we do after every practice is we call it championship stuff. And we kind of give feedback to the things that aren't scoring points, right? Who gave the most effort? Who made it fun to be in the gym today? Who made you smile? Who made you laugh? Who made this place a place to be at for your career? Whether it's a guy on the bench or a starter, who's talking the most about what their team's going to do to make sure we play the right defense, who's giving us the right technical feedback from the bench. It's not about kills or stats or anything like that. It's about who's making it fun to be here and who's keeping us adhering to our system the right way. And I think that's why it's special to be a part of the Carthage Volleyball, and I love every second. So we're just trying to battle for this group, and we got a lot to prove with this current constructed group. And I'm proud of the way we've turned around our offense to prove a little bit. You still got so much and so long to go, and conference play is really what matters. Non-conference play is getting you ready for conference play, and we have, if not the best conference in the country, the second best conference in the country with how deep it is and how talented it is. With Wesleyan beating Dominican last week, how from top to bottom, this conference is unreal. So, we're happy we're going the right direction with what we're doing, but it got so much left to prove with this group.
Yeah. Well, Coach, it's a good time to be a fan of the Firebirds between your success and that of the
Yes,
other
it
programs.
is.
So
men's basketball, women's basketball, awesome wins against number 2 in the country against Illinois Wesleyan. I'm just really impressed with what Steven and Megan are doing with those two groups. Great group of people.
Yep.
But when you watch Megan's team play and that press, it's so much fun. It's an exciting brand of basketball. And I think what Steve does with that men's team is an exciting brand of basketball, how they get to the hoop, how they shoot the ball well.
Yep.
It's not just winning, but it's fun brands of basketball. It's fun to be a fan and watch it.
yeah. Well, Coach, congrats on the win. We'll see you in a few days.
Thanks, guys. Go Birds.
Again, that was head coach J.W. Keycaper. As you and I have said it before, Justin, you could talk to him all day. And then you could talk to him the next day as well, and he's so not run out of things to talk about. Absolutely love it. Little bit of an out-of-town scoreboard right now. Augustana leading 2-1 against St. Ambrose in a non-con matchup. Battle of 2 7-win teams. And then that's just about it for the CCIW. It's a Tuesday evening, so take that for what it's worth. But Justin, final thoughts on things Coach said and just the game as a whole this evening. A fairly convincing win against the Falcons.
Yeah, I think you hit on the head. It wasn't their cleanest brand of volleyball. It wasn't quite what they were probably looking for, but you come out of a potential trap game in between a ranked Dominican team, a very good Benedictine team later this week. This is easily a trap game for the Firebirds. They handled it well. They came away with a 3-set win as they should have, and now they get to look ahead to Benedictine, who is, although they improved to 6-5 with a win over Illinois Tech tonight, their record is not what they are. They have lost a couple of 5-setters to Baldwin Wallace, who we saw here was a very good team.
Yes, a top-ranked team.
They lost a 5-setter to Cal Lutheran, who swept the Firebirds. They took down North Central in 5. They took down Augustana in 3. This team is a lot better than their record shows, and it's going to be a battle here in Tarble on Friday night.
Indeed, it will be. Looking at some of the final numbers, 46-27 your kill differential, 47-200. Just a dominating effort by the Firebirds. 7-0. That service aces really made a difference in tonight's matchup. We want to thank you all and our crew for being here on this Tuesday evening. Everybody, we're going to not be back tomorrow, but for executive producer Mike Love, producer John Voinovich, for the rest of the crew, Matt, Emma, Allison, Addison, and Zoe. Again, top-notch student broadcasts right here. This program has been the presentation of the Firebird Broadcast Productions in Carthage College, copyright 2025. Once again, for Jessica Coorigan, I'm Peter Ferreri. Birds sweep the Falcons in 3. Have a good night, everybody.